Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here with Eitan. And this week, we are talking about cultivating togetherness, especially in a period where the world is all over the place. Not only the world, but families, organizations, institutions, cities are split. It can't be a coincidence that this week the Kabbalists teach that we have the opportunity, in a way, another chance to rethink the way we work together in all of the different roles that we play and how to increase the unity between all of the players in those roles. So we're looking forward to breaking it down this week. And Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most practical and powerful tools to navigate the coming 7 days. We do that by gleaning through the wisdom of Kabbalah and extracting wisdom and tools that'll not only support you to receive the gifts of this week, they'll help you navigate the potential pitfalls, and therefore every episode ends up offering wisdom and tools that you can use any week of the year, any year of your life. And because we have this specific energy, and again, you can look outside the world and, look at your news feed and say, oh, of course, that's what they're going to talk about this week. But we would talk about this week, and the Kabbalists have talked about this every week in every, I don't know how to say it right, every year in this week, because it's a yearly opportunity to go to the next level in this way. But if you're not paying attention to it, you might not notice those opportunities. And that's why this conversation today is so important. So Eitan, where should we begin?
So first, the intention, tapping to this unique energy available, is really how to increase togetherness within ourselves, in our relationship with our friends, in our marriage, in our community, in our business, in our inner groups. So increasing togetherness and true unity. So here is the important, deeper wisdom that we're getting from this weekly portion. Very often, when you hear the word togetherness or unity, the things that naturally comes, love everyone, accept everyone, allow everyone is equal. It's partially truth, but it's not. While everyone has maybe the light of God within them, but doesn't mean they need to be part of my togetherness. One of the lessons Moses needed to learn as a leader, initially he thought, I'll take all the Israelites and all the Egyptians that joined the Israelites to be together because I want everyone's energy to be part of Mount Sinai, to be part of building the tabernacle. And then, after so many people of the Israelites participated in what we call the golden calf, he realized, I made a mistake. The Creator told me that certain people are not ready for this togetherness of the Israelites. Not yet. They're going to destroy it for everyone. And Moses needed to learn, and that's when it's appearing this weekly energy, this portion. Moses needed to learn, you are not welcome to join our group yet. Not because I hate you, not because I dislike you, not because I judge you, because our togetherness have responsibility. Imagine you are with your beautiful family, great energy between you, and there's someone that wants to join you, saying he's a friend. And you notice again and again and again, they have major jealousy, they're not happy. for certain members of your family. So is togetherness be let them in, doesn't matter. It's a mistake. One of the attributes that we all need to express in order to allow the healthy togetherness in our life is strong boundaries with kindness. Saying no. When you build a company and you have your team, your managers, your most important people that other people listen to. If one of the people is not aligned with consciousness, with desire, with way of seeing things, to your group, to the culture of this particular company, it will hurt so many more people. Yes, but how can I say goodbye? We're not saying say goodbye. You need to give chance to people to realize are you in or out. You need to have an open, real conversations. But anyone and each one of us that need to build a healthy team, because in this world you cannot build anything real and meaningful without teams. The team of a family, the team of a company, the team of friends, you cannot. One of the necessary attributes, it's in Kabbalah, it's called Gvura, left column, boundaries, not from anger, not from judgment, not from hate, for the sake of the betterment of the long term vision of whatever you do. And it's good for them as well. So that's essential to realize. And I think each one of us needs to look at our life. How do I create? Where do I need to create more energy of togetherness? And sometimes it's more kindness, and sometimes it's more vulnerability and removing the space between you and the inner team. But sometimes it's setting clear boundaries.
I think what makes these situations difficult for people, when you recognize that there's lack of alignment between you and someone in your immediate circle, or you realize you receive a piece of information that helps you to understand that the chemistry or the partnership that maybe existed before isn't healthy anymore, isn't conducive anymore to whatever the goal is. Most people get stuck in the, not only I don't want to hurt the other person, which I think when you hear yourself say that, I don't want to hurt them, we also have to remember that we can't really control anyone else's feelings anyway. They can be hurt by us doing a kindness for them. So to worry about who's going to be hurt is not necessarily a consideration in one of these, in a situation like this. But it's, I think a lot of people, and especially in a business situation, worry about the ricochet of asking someone to step back or out or to reconsider, right? There's this, I think, I mean, maybe I'm naive, but I think it exists less in, let's say, families and friendships, and more in a situation where there's money involved, that there may be revenge. There may be, somebody is gonna, I actually know someone dealing with this right now, that they let someone go and that person is talking badly about them and trying to damage the company. Now, they're very clear that that person that they let go was not right for the company. But now it looks like they made the wrong choice because of the ricochet that's coming back to them. So how do we take the risk of setting the boundary, exercising that left column, not allowing whatever unhealthy or incorrect partnership behavior, misalignment to continue, while also trusting the process that even if there is a negative result somehow, seemingly negative result, that is also for the best and going to push me. It's like this push and pull that people feel, and I've seen it in real time, that I know it's the right thing to do, but because I don't know what the consequences will be, I'm staying almost like paralyzed. I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid of the outcome of actually pulling the trigger.
So first, I agree with you that it's just uncomfortable to rock the boat. But what always helps me, and that's something a phrase I've learned from from the Rav or Kerberg, I forget which one of them, is that when you make decisions, and sometimes tough decisions to set boundaries, to tell people you cannot do this and that, if not, you cannot be part in any setting, is the only it has to be always a bigger vision. What is the culture of a company, the culture of a group of people, the culture of community? Is the real consciousness, the real energy. The way I look at culture is what allows the light to protect the situation. That's what I call culture. So, what's more important? Hurting the feeling of a person that temporarily will be hurt versus hurting the culture of that particular setting. Because in order to create the right culture is not just words. Yes, it's words, and you have to, as a leader, you have to actually be what you say the culture is. But as important, creating clear boundaries who is not part of the culture. If not, culture is just words, mission statements, what we really believe in. It's words. And if you look back, anytime you took to the next level, the energy, the culture, the strength, or whatever union you're trying to grow, and it brings benefits to others, part of it is by saying goodbye, or sometimes it's a long process, longer process than saying goodbye because you didn't say goodbye early enough. So there's a major chaos that's causing those people to say goodbye. So what's more important? The temporary discomfort or to protect the culture, which is bigger than you?
I think it's one of those moments where for us individually, when we stand in the just before making that decision and taking that kind of step, I think part of it feels very isolating. Like I'm alone in this. I'm the bad guy. We have all these stories that we tell ourselves about putting those boundaries there. And I think part of why we find ourselves in those moments, like, not, most of us don't have the voice of God in our ear the way Moses did, clearly saying, do this and do that. Part of the work when we find ourselves in those moments is knowing that we received about the misalignment or, whatever is going on has to stop, or this is not where I want the culture of this group to go. We have to know that that knowledge comes from the light of the creator, that's when our partnership with the creator is asking to be strengthened. Do you really trust that that the creator has your back, that the creator is on the sidelines cheering you on, and that safety net is going to be there no matter how risky it looks, no matter how unsafe being the bad guy feels as you put that boundary or you remove the person or the situation from whatever's going on. And I know that a lot of the situations that I've witnessed where someone has to be the bad guy, has to be the force that's expressing that gvura in that moment, even as a parent, right? Sometimes as a parent, or you may, if you aren't a parent, maybe you remember your own parents sometimes laying down the law. I bet you, and I know for those of you that have had to do this, it's happened that you do it knowing that it's the right thing, but you might crawl into bed afterwards crying about how bad you feel about it. that's really each one of our opportunities to express. We have to remember that Gra is an expression of the light of the Creator. It's just because it feels bad doesn't mean it's separate from that. And to use those moments in your process where, it might be even in a marriage where one spouse realizes that there is a behavior or there is a pattern or a habit that is not working, that is not healthy, that is not leading the marriage or the family down the right road. And you have to lay down the law in that moment, and be willing to risk it. But when you know that the Creator is in your corner and guiding you, and you invite, this is to me something that I think we forget when we feel alone and we think I'm the only one who can have this conversation with that person, or I'm the only one who sees what's going on, or maybe it's even a secret that we're trying to keep other people from being aware of. We feel alone. And if you're going through something like this, or maybe put this knowledge in your back pocket, so the next time it does happen, you remember, oh, wait a second, I'm not alone. Not only you're not alone, ask the light of the Creator to speak for you. Ask the light of the Creator to use you as a channel to reach the person that you need to speak with, that they will understand, they will feel, maybe not consciously, but in their soul, in their heart, they will feel it's also for the best, even if they don't like it, even if it's uncomfortable for them too. Do the internal work. And this is something that I learned very early on as a Kabbalah student, that I found for me is who tends to avoid, maybe less now than back then, but doesn't love difficult conversations, doesn't love confrontation, that I would sit the night before I knew that I needed to have a hard conversation. And I did this recently, and it still works. It's not just something from the 90s. And I closed my eyes and I asked the light of the Creator to be there with me when I have this conversation. I opened up, I did a meditation. I opened up the Zohar, and I really asked for the words, whatever message I want to give, that it doesn't come from my words or my mind, that it comes really like a direct transmission of what needs to be heard, what needs to be conveyed, even though in my mind, of course, I was rehearsing it probably to an unhealthy degree. But when the time came, I really surrendered and I said, light, just use me. Let me be the speaker, the microphone for whatever wisdom needs to be, whatever reality needs to be experienced now. And it really, I'm sure even physically, it reduced the stress in my body over what needed to take place. But it really took the isolation part out of it. I really felt supported and guided, and that no matter what happened, it was leading us all to the best possible reality. And I have to tell you something, the turn of events afterwards, none of my best case scenarios even came close to what happened. Like, I'm still shocked. This was just a few weeks ago. I'm still marveling at how the Creator made it's so much better than I dreamed about as an outcome. So I think that for each one of us, when we stand in front of those moments that makes us worried, are we still going to be friends? Are we still going to be business partners? Are we still going to be neighbors? Like, whatever whoever is needing the boundary or the confrontation or the tough conversation, when you realize it's not about you and the other person, it's about you getting closer to the light of the Creator, it becomes a completely different process. And there's no question that every person needs to stand in that spot at least once in life. Most of us, I think, multiple times. But when you look at it as, I'm not the bad guy, I'm just a channel for the light of the Creator. I love this person. Obviously, I'm not going to be reckless about what I say, but it becomes a really divinely guided and supported experience. And you realize that, when you remember that you're not alone, the light of the Creator shows you are never alone. So I hope that if you're listening to this and you have one of these kind of conversations on your to-do list that maybe you're putting off, that you utilize this week's energy to do it in a way with love, but not only with love, with light. It'll be a completely different experience.
Beautiful. Looking back about times that it can be even as part of my leadership role in the Kabbalah Center, as maybe being in charge of teachers and some staff in different locations, different centers that I was. When I did not follow my gut feeling and did not confront, because boundaries is sometimes just confrontation about the truth. Some changes needs to play. It doesn't mean goodbye to someone. But when I did not do it, actually, I I made the situation so much tougher for the other person, because then for their process they needed to change, and it took so much hardships and difficulties and more resistance from the other person. So actually avoiding those moments that you deserve from love, just confront, set boundaries, say the truth, create clarity, sometimes warn, sometimes clarify where the other person is. When you're not doing it because it's uncomfortable and you just wish everything will turn to be good, very often you're going to make for them and for your group the situation so much harder. Another thing I've learned, if it's in companies, in friends, when sometimes you finally have the strength to clean who does not belong, not that you just get rid of them, just they don't fit. And probably for the journey of the other person, it's better to leave. When you are doing it, you're creating a space for amazing people to come. When you're looking for amazing people to come to your group and you don't understand why, sometimes the test is you don't say goodbye to the wrong people. And having the courage to say goodbye to the wrong people will attract the right people. Because you believe, why? Why does it work this way? Because when you truly believe in the energy that this particular team, the togetherness, not just the togetherness, physicality, in consciousness, in alignment, when you really believe in it enough to say no to people who don't fit and do not align, then you create actually that belief, that faith in what you represent, attract the people that also belong to you. So it is a major, 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 attribute to have. And you need to do it with grace. You need to learn to do it with yourself. Allow that uncomfortable stress to be more, joyful with that process, because people will feel it. It's not a bad thing.
And it's also not a coincidence that these portions, I think almost maybe once in a while there's an exception. It falls in the month of Pisces. And Pisces is a sign that has a very huge opportunity to create boundaries and hold them and to deal with things proactively. So I think it's funny is maybe not the right word, ironic, coincidental, obviously not, that the support to do that work is hidden, is placed inside a month where naturally it will seem like the better choice to put it off, to maybe avoid it, to not deal with it. And I think that in the same way that if there's an issue in our bodies, right? If there's a splinter in your thumb, you don't think, oh, I'll take care of it later. Maybe it'll go away by next month, or maybe someone else will take it out. And obviously there's much more challenging situations that can happen in the body. That's really what happens when we avoid, procrastinate. We convince ourselves it's not that bad. And eventually it gets worse. And so, Eitan, when you shared that idea, and I think this is also important to remember in a relationship situation, when you're holding on to a relationship, it could be, by the way, it can be a friendship as well. It doesn't need to necessarily be a romantic partnership. If you hold on to something after it's run its course, simply because you don't want to hurt the other person, or the conversation is uncomfortable, or you don't want to be the bad guy, all the smart excuses we might give ourselves, the idea that there's another person who belongs there, right? That we're not only blocking ourselves or maybe the person that we need to confront, but there's people who haven't even or not able to enter their next role or your movie because that space is being occupied by someone who no longer needs to be there. Realizing that helps me also develop the courage to have those conversations, because I also don't want to delay. I'm putting off the difficult conversation, but ultimately delaying blessings from coming to me in the future. That often is what I need to remind myself of, to motivate myself to tackle the situation at hand. Because what ends up happening is, everybody knows, is that usually we put up those boundaries or we have those tough conversations when we're already fed up, when we're angry, when we're frustrated, when there's no other choice but to deal with it. And that's never the best way to deal with it. So really thinking in terms of how we can do those things proactively and not waiting until there's no air in the room anymore. I think that's one of the gifts of being able to look this week proactively and ask, what is not in alignment? What do I know I need to deal with that I haven't been dealing with? What's the conversations, the tough conversations I know I need to have? It's the perfect setting to do that work. Okay, well, as always, Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us there to receive more content to support you in what we talk about in every episode. You can also visit weeklyenergyboost.com to search through our archives, send us a message, or click the donate button and help make Weekly Energy Boost possible. But as always, keep sharing, keep rating, reviewing wherever you're listening now. Take a moment to let us know how we're doing, and we'll see you next week on Weekly Energy Boost.